Hello, my beautiful people. Um, I'm sorry for the hesitant pause because when you're on Zoom, it lets you know when you start recording and it just startles me every time. Anyway, so we are here for episode two of The Girl from Plainville. I decided I'm just gonna knock these out. Um, so this episode is titled Turtle, and we go back to 2012 where Conrad and Michelle first met in Florida. So Conrad is with his father's lady friend, and his two sisters, and they're visiting the dad's aunt, which would make her Coco's great aunt. So she's just trying to, like, how y'all doing? How y'all been? I don't see y'all that often. And Cole is just spilling all of Coco's business. He's like, he ain't in school. Uh, he worked with me on the boats. He just spent all his time in his room on the computer. Just basically just it's like, damn, do you like your son? Do you love your son? Because the way you talking about him, I would swear you hate him. And so I can feel how Conrad is feeling, just like everybody coming down on him or everybody got something to say about him. And it's like, I didn't know this was a just talk about Coco Day and talk spill all my tea. Like, why are we talking about me? Mind your business. Um, and so, like I said in the last episode, there are three generations of Conrad. There's Grand Co, Daddy Co, and Coco. So the young man who unalived himself, they call him Coco, and the dad Co. The granddaddy really ain't got no nickname, but I have what is it, coined him Grandco. Um, so his great aunt's friend, her name is Ruth. She is the one who introduced Coco to Michelle. She's like, it's my granddaughter. And Michelle, this the young man I've been telling you about. He my friend, great grandson. So, I mean great nephew. So y'all have a talk, all that good stuff. And it's awkward, and it's always awkward like that when people just put y'all together. Like, I think y'all be great together to talk, and it's just like, hey, playing a little dress up, like it's very awkward and just like, uh, and so, but they have a little conversation. But Coco has, or rather, had a girlfriend by the name of Lily, but while he's been trying to contact her through the trip, like he's been calling, texting her, trying to get her to answer, there's been no response because Cole told him, like, you're not gonna see her anymore. Y'all not gonna meet up like how you planned, because they had a because Mama Roy was supposed to talk to Lily's dad, and she did, and the man said no, like, I don't want him dating my daughter. So it just is what it is. So at one point, he steps away from the table to call her, and it's the daddy, but he's thinking it's Lily because he called Lily phone, and the dad answered and was like, I thought I told you to stop contacting my daughter and stop talking to her. Like, y'all are not going to be in communication with each other. And all I can think of is in real life that Lily was another Michelle. Like, she had issues, and it's like Coco also has issues. So it's like, y'all not finna come together and, do this together. Like, I want you away from my daughter as far as possible. And we just gonna let that be what it is. Um, so the detective, I still ain't learned his name, child. I really don't care. Um, he wants a warrant for Michelle's phone because it's like something about this ain't right and how it's looking. Because it's like, if you could look through all his text messages and see what she wrote, some iffy. So I want access to her phone, and access denied because they're like, you don't have probable cause, you don't have any evidence. It's like, ain't this ruled a suicide? And he's like, yeah, but, and it's like, no, but find me some evidence and then maybe we can go somewhere with this. Um, so like she's been doing since the young man passed. Michelle has been using Coco's death as a way to get the girls to hang out with her. Because at first I was calling the girls her friend, but I'm like, it's obvious they're not friends. They're sympathy friends, if that's such a thing. It's like they only pay her any attention when she brings up Conrad. So it's just like, oh, girl, I guess. Um, and so back in because I think it's like the beginning of school, and she walks over to the girls like, it's my birthday soon. Do you guys all want to do something? And the thing is, she said was my birthday's coming up, not like an actual day. Just asking them if they want to hang out. And it's I gotta work. You don't even know what day it's on, but you gotta work. My mom ain't gonna let me. Like, and the other one, like, I gotta babysit, just already with the excuses. And then she goes back to the fundraiser. Like, I thought you guys were helping me with this fundraiser. And she's like, that's what you want to do for your birthday? You should be celebrating. And she's like, no, but Conrad, you know. Um, if like whoever's watching this, please go over to the Collective 3 and watch Kay and I's Our Kind of People review, because very much in the way everything reminds Yaya's character of Mama, very much Michelle. It's like everything reminds me of Conrad, Conrad. Um, and so it's back in 2012 again. And it's 3 a.m. and Conrad, like, he can't turn his brain off. He's tossing and turning. And so he goes out to the dock and he sees Michelle is there. And she's like, I really wasn't expecting anybody to be out here. They kind of talk like, hey, what's up? And she turns to walk away and leave. And she turns around and says, I have a great way to help you sleep if you can't sleep at night. And he just says, works great. I said, that's my type of sarcasm, because it's like, are you not here at 3 a.m. just like I am? Like, how are you going to help me, girl? Seems like we're in the same boat. So I don't need advice from you. But she says turtle. And she's like, he's like, what? And she's like, turtle. And you just think of another word. It's basically word association, acting like she made it up. I said, but okay, girl. So you just think of a different word, but it's like in association to that word, so you can't think of another word. And he's like, so basically you bore yourself to sleep. And I was like, that's really not boring. Well, I guess how people see it, but I'm just like, that's actually kind of fun, because it's like you think you know a bunch of words until it's just like, and you can't repeat the same words. So it's just like, when you actually think about it, you think you know a lot of words, but then you really don't, because you keep going back to certain things. I was just like, that's the nerd in me. Um. So anyway, so we get to Michelle's birthday, and she is getting dressed, all dressed up, and it's like her phone is flooded with text messages of all these girls making excuses as to why they cannot show up for her little party function. And she is distraught. So she jumps right on the treadmill, just running. She's like, I'm gonna work it out. And I said, girl, yes, I need that motivation, honey. Let me work it out. Didn't work it out, work it out. Shame on me, and I'm so sorry. I don't even know if anybody gonna get that reference, but so while she's running on the treadmill, and she is like amping up the speed. It's like it goes past 5, 6. She's just steady, like she's about to run herself into the ground. And we get this montage of her running like really, 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 really fast on this treadmill, and also her at the computer setting up the fundraiser homers for Conrad, which is the baseball game that she wants to throw in his honor. So the detective goes to see Mama Roy and asks this dumbass, does he have a computer? It's like, Sir, he's a teenager. Of course he has a computer. Even back in 2012, I mean, no, because it's present day. So even in 2014, of course he has a computer. What are you talking about? But Mama Roy tells him like it's at his dad's house, but it's no problem to go get it. And he's, trying to talk to her, ask her how she's doing. And she's like, my son spent the day out on the beach with me, then came home and killed himself or unalived himself. I'm sorry. How do you think I'm doing? And he's like, should I go? And she's kind of like, I wish you would. Like, I just want to be mama. Like, mama, like me, she has some brown though, but she had a glass of liquor, drinking it in the officer's face. I mean, detective's face, and was like, sir, I want to be alone. I am grieving. My son is gone. And so she goes to drop the girls, like, and I hate to say remaining, but like the remaining children at the grandparents' house because they having like a barbecue or something like that. And as soon as they get there, the grandmama gives her a hug. She's like, you look like you need something to eat. Come get something to eat. Um, and she tells Grandco, fix our plate. And he like, we're gonna have to ration. I really didn't plan for another person to be just being super shady. I was like, what's he there? Because the daddy was, I mean, Grandco was like, I don't like it. The we ain't got enough. I'm just like, oh, okay. Not okay, like isn't good, but like, you shady. And Mama Roy is like, I'm not staying. So, you can cut that out because I'm not even staying here. She just waits till Cole comes out and says, I need the key to your house. And he's like, why? And it really wasn't up until this point that I realized that they were divorced. I thought they were still together. I did not realize. And she's like, I need to get the computer out of his room because the detective says he needs to tie up some loose ends. And he's like, you don't find that suspicious? And she's like, no, I don't. And I kind of want this wrapped up. Like, what are we talking about? And so this starts an argument between them because he's like, I kind of don't want you in my place by yourself. And she's like, I divorced you. Like, what's the issue? Like, ain't no problem. And it's not until the daughter, what's her name? One of the daughters, Sydney. Sydney comes over and like, y'all seen this? She done created a page on Facebook, a fundraiser for Coco. And it's like and the Granco was like a fundraiser. What they mean? What they doing? And she was like, they're raising funds for well in Coco's honor. And he was like, we ain't no goddamn charity case. And it's like I said, oh, Granco ain't playing with y'all. And she's like, no, it's like to raise awareness for mental health. And he's like, what? And she's like, he's like, all these words y'all using, break it down. And she's like, for suicide awareness, like that's really what it's for. And so he immediately turns to Mama Roy and was like, so that's what you want to do for your son? That's his legacy of you calling him crazy? And it's like, nobody said crazy. Nobody called him crazy. Nobody said that. I'm like, suicide does not equal crazy. What are we talking about here? And then he also tells her, um, you don't know nothing about prayer. Your kids wouldn't know the Lord's Prayer if it bit them in the ass. They don't know nothing about church unless we take them. And he's like, basically, it's all your fault. You the reason why he did. And she's like, how is this coming back on me? And all of what I said. And he's like, and then you desecrate his remains by throwing them out in the water. I said, this man. I said, oh, he been ready to put this all out on the table. But let me backtrack because I forgot just that quick. So when she first showed because Mama Roy knew about it, but she's showing the phone Sydney is to Cole, and Cole was like, who is Michelle? I said, see, and I didn't even know the daddy didn't like there was no mention of her to the dad till now. But I'm just like, still, girl, nobody knows who you are, nobody knows anything about you, girl. So I'm just like, I don't understand how you trying to, infiltrate yourself into the family and nobody knows you. Just like how your parents, both of the parents, say, "Who's Conrad?" And girl, you've never mentioned him before. Like neither one of y'all mentioned each other to y'all family. So it's basically like y'all coming out the blue. Um and then back to the grand code going off. And he's like, you do all this, you don't do nothing right. And then he look at his son and look at Cole. He don't do nothing but go along with it, just say whatever you say. And so it's just like in the mix of all that, he take his key off his key ring and give it to her, like, girl, just go, because I'm tired. It's enough. It's enough. We done. Um, and so Rob, who was Coco's like best friend in their hometown, calls Michelle, and it's like, why is this event in Plainfield and not in whatever city they made up, but it's really Fayetteville. And she's like, because I live in Plainville. And he's like, yeah, but Conrad stayed here. He's from here. And she's like, well, no, Rob first said, he was like, and the family, excuse me, the family might not make that drive to Plainville. And so she's like, well, my family might not make the drive to Fayetteville, but it's like Conrad didn't know them people. Like, this is about him. It's not about you and the people that know you. And so immediately she turns that into, well, I paid the deposit already on the field and it's not refundable. But, none of that matters. I can cancel it if you want me to. And it's just like, you are you are a manipulative little bitch. Like she really is. I said, girl, you are awful. So he's like, nah, I guess that's all right, because if you can't get the money back, whatever. But then he offers, he's like, I'll see if the baseball team wants to play in his honor, like if they gonna come down and all that type of stuff. And she's like, oh great, thanks, bye. And her mama walk out on the field like, what's going on? And she's like, can we put the deposit now? Put the deposit down now. I said, so you ain't even put the deposit down, little lying ass. And so we're back in 2012 in Florida, and it's Michelle's last day. So Cole show up at her house her grandma's house that she's staying with while she's there with two bikes. And as they walking down the driveway, here comes Sydney. And Coco is disgusted. He's like, girl, what are you doing here? And Sydney's like, Dad told me to come. Like he said I could go, so I'm here. And he's just like, oh my God, girl, please. And being honest, that's one of my childhood traumas. Like I'm the youngest out of four girls, and it always felt like they never wanted me around. So it's just like to have that. I said, ooh, I'm triggered. um, but she goes on anyway, and she's like, I'm going. Shit, I don't care. And so she's having a conversation with Michelle, and Conrad is just like, will you please go away? Like, please go find you something to do. Until the point where he tells her to, because there's a line for pizza, and he's like, get in line, and she's like, no. And he's like, here, and he gives her some money and was like, I'll pay for your slice. Just go get some pizza for a second. Just go. So she goes, and he goes to, like, he turns to Michelle and says, let's go. And she's like, what? He's like, let's go. And so they run off together. And I'm just like, I had to be the oldest child I've ever known, because it's just like looking at that. And I think, like, even back when I was a kid, I find that shit, and I guess because it is my trauma, I just find that so lame. I'm like, we not leaving your sister here. Like, she by herself. Like, we not leaving her here. And but they run off and they have a great day, honey. They got matching bunny ears. And they wind up at the beach looking for rocks or picking out rocks, and just having a good time, just spending time with each other, just talking. And he lets her know that he has mental problems, because she asks him what school does he go to in his town. And he's like, he names off some school, and he's like, but I didn't go there last year because I wasn't feeling, and he says feeling well. So that's how he explains it. And she's like, I don't feel well either. And they get into this thing where she's like, she starts it off with, it's to the point where I have to, and she initiates, like, let's say this, but it's just like with her hands, like this, and she starts going like this. All right, well, she does it like as if it's, excuse me, as if it's one. And then he does it like, well, me, I have to. And it's like, he's like saying, I have to take a bunch of pills. That's how many problems that I have. And I was like, y'all are really sitting here saying, like, I have more mental issues than I have more mental issues. Because Michelle said something about, like, she doesn't like herself very much. And he's like, girl, whew, if only you knew. And they share a kiss. And like Conrad almost gets a little too friendly. And she gotta push him back, like, hold on, Playboy. It ain't going out like that on this beach. Chill out. And he immediately sees that as rejection. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, I liked it, but just, calm down a little bit. And so they also exchange numbers, because after the kiss and after it got awkward, she's like, do you want my number? And he's like, if you want to give it to me, yeah. And he tells her, what time do you leave in the morning? And she's like 9 o'clock. And he says, well, I'll be there to say goodbye. So when he gets back to their house, or whatever house they staying in, the dad is like, you all right? You cool? And he's like, yeah. He's like, because I just thought something had to be wrong. Because the fact, you basically been going all day, and you left your sister stranded at the pizza shop. You left her all alone. And he like, man, she was all right. Wasn't nothing wrong with her. And the dad said she had to ask a man to bring her back here. And she was crying when she got here. And I said, now, Conrad, now, babe, like, you got to admit you're wrong in this situation. Because it's like, first of all, you did leave your sister. You left your sister to go off on her own. And then you also, like, you don't know what that man could have did to her. Like, can you take me home? And it's like, yeah, I'll take you home. I get you in my car, and they never would have saw her again, because it's like something could have happened to her. But and I was like, even then, what would have made him? Sorry, I'm not quick with my math right now. So in 2014, he was like, oh, so he was on 16. As a 16-year-old, he not thinking about that. He don't think nothing can really happen and everything is all right. And so the dad told, because he said something, dad like, shut your fucking mouth. You need to go apologize to your sister, and then you need to go to bed. And Conrad like, I ain't ate all day. I'm trying to get something to eat, because he took something out the fridge and popped it in the microwave. And the dad is like, too bad. Dinner was at 5 and you missed. I said, dinner at 5. And I work in a retirement home. So at my job, when I used to work doubles, because I'm more of a morning person, I do breakfast and lunch. But when I did do doubles and stay for dinner, dinner was at 5. I'm like, who eating this early? So 5 o'clock. That's lunch. For real, for real. But as you can see, my eating habits are terrible. And I just eat whenever. But I was like, 5 o'clock. Anyway. But he's like, he calls his dad a dick. And dad is like, say it again. Say it one more time. And he's like, he don't say nothing. And the dad like goes as if he's gonna hit him, but he don't, like he don't do nothing. And so later we see him in his bed, well, sitting on the side of his bed, and he's crying. Like he's listening to music, looking in the mirror, and looking at himself crying. I said, oh, you so y'all got something in common. I said, this is crazy. And Sydney came to his door and just flat out opened his door. He's like, man, get out, you fucking narc. And she don't say nothing. He's like, I said, get out. And she never fully came in, but she don't leave either. She don't close the door. She just she slide down the wall like she Mariah Carey, and just sits outside his door while he lays back on his bed crying. And it's just like, I said, this is sorry, I'm texting my friend real quick. Um, okay, my bad. So I was just like, yeah, that's crazy. And it's just like, I know this is about him and his story, but I felt really bad for Sydney because it's just like, I didn't intentionally get you in trouble, but you left me on my own and I was scared. What do you want from me? Like me being scared and being left out on my own and having to come back and say, I don't know where you are because I don't know where you are. You left me. So it's just like I'm not to blame here either. Like you're upset with me. And in that instance, it's neither of our faults. Well, it is his fault because he left her, but it's just like the dad raising his hand to you, you can't blame her for that. Um, and so the next morning we see Michelle, Lord, that's my friend. Michelle, like they loading up the car, getting ready to go, and she looking around because she's like, my boo said he was gonna be here. Where he at? And her younger sister is like, Michelle, let's go, girl. And you can see the look on her face. She's kind of disappointed that he didn't show up because it's like, damn, he said he was gonna be here. Um, so it's time for this baseball game, child. And then the baseball game, Michelle makes a speech and it's like, how much she knows Conrad and loves Conrad and everything. She knew everything about Conrad. She knew his blood type, all of that. Let's play some games. What she say? So let's get some homers for Conrad. And so the team run out on the field, and Rob is like, I kind of had a speech planned. Like I won, like you ain't let me speak. This heifer looks at him and says, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted to say something." And it's like, girl, he was my best friend. Why wouldn't I want to speak on my best friend? And she's like, oh, and she hands him the bullhorn. And it's like, he like, man, forget about it. I just wanted this to be perfect. It's like, so you saying me saying some words about my best friend wouldn't make this situation perfect. It would have messed up the event of baseball. Like, girl, you don't even know him like that. Um, and so, like they play the game, it's all this, we'll do whatever, whatever. And but while she was making her speech, the people that knew her, like her, well, the people from her school, because I'm not gonna call them her friends, because they're not her friends. But one guy yells out, "Oh, we love you, Michelle," and she is reveling in this attention and all the support she is getting. Um, so Michelle's mom, what's her name? Her name Gail. Gail comes over to Mama Roy and is giving her a card and is like, anytime you need to talk to me, anytime you just want to talk to somebody, and it's her business card. So Mama Roy is like, what does this mean? And she's like, she's an interior decorator or something like that with people who want to sell their houses, and tells her, anytime you want to sell your house. I'm like, girl, what? Why would you say that at a time like this? It is not the time for this. You do not need to be bringing that up. And Mama is like, I rent. So now what? And Gail is like, oh yeah, homeowning, it's not for everybody. It's like, even if I did own my home, I'm not telling you that right now. Like, but Mama Gail gets into, do you talk to Michelle? And she's like, yeah, we speak a little bit. And she's like, well, I just got our phone bill and she's still texting your son's phone. And I don't know if it's under some false hope of him responding back, but and her doing this event, I just feel like it's a lot. And the mom, like, she looking at her and she's like, you know what, never mind, I shouldn't even be telling you this. And Michelle immediately runs over and once again forces another hug on this woman, like, come here, let me hug you. How you doing? Can I get you anything? Like, just very much in her face and just want to be all in her space. And it's just like, girl, back up. So Gail walks away. She's like, you know what, I'm gonna just be over here. It's whatever. And Michelle sits next to Mama Roy and tells her, you know, like we were very close, me and Coco, you know, like you might as well call us Siamese twins because we are just here, honey. Um, and she's like, he brought me flowers like that time in Florida, he brought me flowers the day that I left. And it's like, why are you lying to this boy's mama? Like, girl, you didn't even see him the day that he left. And she's like, we had such deep conversations. He talked about you all the time. Um, and what else did she say? And she once again asks for the note that Coco left for her. And she's like, I texted you about it a few times and you didn't respond, but like, do you think I could have it? And once again, the mom was like, I'm not walking around with this note in my pocket. I don't have it. And she's like, sure, 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 sure. No problem. And it's just like, anywho, so the Mama Roy is like, so what did he say about me? And her focus even isn't even on Mama Roy anymore. She see Rob with the baseball team, like with his arms around them, and they're taking pictures, and she's like, once again, somebody doing quote unquote something without her. So she looks at the mom and is like, oh yeah, he used to excuse me for a moment and runs over there. I'm like, girl, because you knew he was lying. Because he didn't leave no note for that lady. It felt like it was estranged, like the relationship was very strained. And it's just like, you knew he was lying. So she runs over and forces herself into the picture and just be all up in. I said, girl, ooh, it's weird. Like, it's weird. And I'm not trying to talk about nobody in their mental issues because it's plenty of people who do stuff just for the sake of attention and just to have people focusing on them and giving them any type of attention. Um, so the detective is there and he sits by the two girls from the first time. I never did get their names because I really don't feel like they're important. But he just sits right next to them and they kind of scoot over like, damn, excuse you. And asks, who are y'all? Do y'all know Conrad or do y'all know Michelle? And they're like, we know Michelle and she's been really torn up, even when he was missing. And the detective was like, missing? They was like, yeah, he was supposed to be missing for like 3 days. Everybody was looking for him. Like even y'all, like the cops was looking for him. And he's like, and old girl who I said was me in the last episode who really wasn't feeling it, she's like, ain't y'all supposed to know this already? And he's like, yeah. So they're feeling away. And right then, Michelle sees them and calls them down to the field. And she's like forcing them to take a picture together, like they're just the best of friends. And one of the girls tells her, like, that guy up there is asking questions. And she's like, Conrad was missing for 3 days, right? And she's like, yeah, why? And it's like, because that's what I just told that cop over there. So everything cool, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine, no problem. And so the game is over, and I'm assuming that they're pulling up to their own house because it's Michelle and her mom in the car. Um, and the mom goes in and is like, I'll just be a second. It ain't no problem. And we hear this motor running, and out of nowhere, like Michelle is slowly losing it. It's just like she takes off that seatbelt and she's just looking around, and it's that, and she's like once again doing that vibrating shit she was doing last episode, where her body is just like, and it's just like, girl, okay, but and it's like it's memories of her and Coco flashing back in her mind, and she is just vibrating and crying. And so she texts one of the girls, well, I'm assuming it's like the two girls that keep popping up. And the text says, I could have stopped him. I was on the phone with him and he got out of the car because it was working and he got scared. And I fucking told him to go back in. And that's how the episode ends. And it's just like, and it's eating her up. It's eating her up. It's like she loves the attention that she's getting from this situation, but she is eating it up, honey. And it's just like, whew, hate to see it. Hate to see it, but it is eating her up. And I feel like, because I can't remember in real life if she actually texted that to somebody, but that's gonna come back to haunt her. Because it's like, why would you say that? Why would you tell anybody that? You shouldn't tell nobody that. But like I said, it's eating her up and she don't know what to do with that information. But anyway, that is the first two episodes of The Girl from Plainville, from Plainville. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you back next episode.